The following program is brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization.
Got on. Why are you taking a break already, Ian?
Oh, well, you know, that's the life of a big movie star like me and you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm Kim Murray.
And I'm Ian Stevens.
You're not Ian Stevens.
I'm not? Who am I?
Oh, no. I would say it, but we're on the air, and this is a family show.
It is? Well, thanks for letting me know.
All right.
Cool. Well, cheers.
Mm-hmm.
And cheers to Talk I.N.K. Welcome to Talk I.N.K. Ian and Kim.
You're so funny.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all?
Uh-huh. So what's going on?
Oh,
we have a big show today.
We do. I'm so excited. I'm just like been anticipating this for the last couple of weeks because the gentleman we're going to have on the show shortly is one of my rock heroes of all time. Yeah. You know, my first instrument was the drums.
Right.
And in the time that I was a rebellious teenager back in the 70s. Yeah, I was. I had my moments. And my
I can see it too.
And for about 2 years there, from the time I was 13 to 15, I listened to only two bands at that time.
Oh, really? What was that?
That was Black Sabbath and Alice Cooper. And as a drummer, I learned every lick by listening to every beat that Neil Smith ever had to do. He was a drummer for Alice Cooper.
Right.
My favorite album at that time was Billion Dollar Baby.
Okay.
And so, you know, I can, even to this day, I can hear the kick down on the drum beats on every song, like Billion Dollar.
That was a great song.
And I just took ownership of that. And I just immersed myself so much with the headphones like I'm doing right now. I feel like I'm having an emotional moment. I'm having an epiphany right now.
That's great.
So having
I
Neil
had the
Smith,
same thing on the way up here, actually, because
I thought it was the cop that pulled you over. Didn't you have an epiphany because he thought you was cute or something?
Well, I talked my way out of it, but anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I'm in a Malibu this week.
You what about who? What?
Can I finish my sentence, please?
I didn't.
Thank you.
All I heard was Malibu.
I rented a Malibu.
Oh, a Malibu car.
Malibu car, and it's awesome. And I haven't drove a new car in a very long time because my car.
I love your grammar. I haven't drove a car like that. Isn't it the word driven?
Whatever.
Sorry,
exactly.
I had to do it. I had to burp. I had my Dr. Pepper, I had my burp. But
I am who I am, honey pie.
Sorry.
So anyway, I drove the car.
You drove the car here.
Here, and the radio is amazing. And I haven't listened to like old rock bands, you know, in a long time.
Cool. Well,
yeah, like Rat and Rainbow and stuff.
Night
like
Ranger.
No.
No Night Ranger.
No, it wasn't.
How about Slayer?
No.
How about?
I'm giving you the ones you're not listening.
I'm hearing
Rainbow.
Rainbow, okay.
Blue Oyster Cult.
I love Blue Oyster Cult.
Nazareth.
Well, I remember Nazareth. How about Megadeth?
Yeah, I saw him in concert.
Who was the other one with
Metallica?
Metallica. I was going to say Lars, the drummer. I love his drummer.
But the whole point is I listen to the music because I haven't heard it in a long time because I've been actually focused on art. You know, a lot in the last few years.
How is Art doing? Is Art doing okay?
Yes.
How tall is Art? Is he about what, 6
You're
foot
going to be in
2?
really big trouble.
Ooh, I'm going to be in really big trouble. For those of you who don't know, Kim Marie, my work wife here, is probably one of the most prolific graphic artists
Thank you.
in Florida, if not in the United States. And all the stuff you guys see,
And not speaker, just artist.
This artist,
I never
right.
get a chance to
Wah,
speak.
wah, wah. And she is just incredible. So everything you see at the beginning of the show, all that stuff, she put together. Our logo that you see, Talk Inc. right here in our cups, and you see on our all over on the screen, is all as a result of Miss Kim Marie's hard work and labor of love.
Thank you.
So before we get started with our guest today, my rock hero, Mr. Neil Smith, I wanted to say again thank you to our sponsor, to Off Duty Wear, and Miss Vicki Gross, Vicki Royale, incredible actress extraordinaire herself. And she's been providing our sponsorship for the last couple of weeks, and this is almost, I think, a 5th or 6th show that they've been doing. And we just want to say thank you, Vicki, and we want to continue that partnership for the weeks and months ahead. If not for longer than that, we'll see.
For
And,
season 2, because our shows are almost over and I could take a break.
That's right.
From you.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. I love you too, Kim. So anyway, so we wanted to say thank you. Yeah. And the fact that Kim makes we're here in Tampa, and I live in Tarpon Springs, which is on the Gulf side of Florida. She's out near Deltona, which is near Daytona, on the Atlantic side of Florida. So she makes quite a trek to come and dedicate her time to the 12 shows that we're putting together for season 1.
And rent a car so I can hear Rainbow on the way over
That's
here.
right.
And Alice Cooper as well. I got to hear Love It to Death.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
One of my favorites is Elected, and No More Mr. Nice Guy. Oh, and School's Out. It's so funny because every time when my kids are...
I like the Ballad of Dwight Frye. It's
really?
always been my favorite. I always thought it was just like a really creepy song. It just has a...
the thing I loved about when I was acting in my 20s and at the end of the school year, all the principals always played Alice Cooper on School's Out.
Oh, of course.
And they dug it because the kids were leaving...
Epic song for that,
right?
Oh,
yeah. And they were like... I'm going to imagine if Neil's like, lives in Connecticut, he's driving by...
I can picture you just running in your little shoes and your backpack and just trotting along. Can we all picture that?
Well, see, Alice Cooper, when they were there, I was in junior high by that time. So we didn't run so much. We kind of went, okay, you see if we can hit the bus, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, diamonds in real glass, man. You know what I'm saying? Yes, right, man,
Got some bluegrass in you, huh?
No, some Cheech and Chong. Hey, what's up, man? Well, only real diamonds cut glass, man.
I know what it is.
I know. Hey, Bud, man. Bud's not here, man.
I was trying to save your soul.
Oh, really? She's an evangelist now.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Kim, I am really excited right now because
I know you are.
I
was really excited that Neil was gonna, it's coming on.
And when you told me, guys, seriously, Doug, Matt, she told me, I was like in tears.
I know.
I really was. I mean,
I couldn't deal with it
because I was just dealing. My parents had divorced, and I was kind of going through. So I really immersed myself into music, and just those 2 bands I really identified with because of the lyrics and the beat and the backbeat and everything. And like I said, I really copied out Neil Smith stuff because I would sit with my drum kits and just kind of pound it out. And a lot of it was pounding out frustration as a teenager. And
well, you're the drummer, I'm the bass player, so
it's the same thing. The boom, 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 kind of thing. And so to have Neil as our guest is kind of coming full circle for me in my 56 years on this planet.
I know.
So, if you'd like to introduce our guest,
yeah,
I'm going to go here in the corner and cry.
You're gonna go. Hi, Neil. Are you there?
I'm waiting for a drum roll. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm here. How are you guys doing this evening?
Oh, Neil.
Doing really well. Ian's flipping out right now.
This is an emotional time for me, Neil.
Well,
really.
that's good.
He's actually
don't
blushing.
Hurt yourself. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Drummers hurt themselves a lot. And I think that's something people don't talk about that. And after you play a performance, my hands were bloody.
Oh wow.
It was especially when you play the way that our band did. But anyway, yes, school's out, and that's that time of year, and that's great.
Well, my kids love it.
I still hate school.
What's that?
I still hate school. I was at an 8th grade graduation a couple nights ago,
right?
And I was so glad when I finally got out of that auditorium. I can't tell you. I still, it brings back a lot of, claustrophobic memories of being stuck in school and all the things I got in trouble for. So.
Yeah, I hear you. I was right along.
So you were a troublemaker as a youth, were you?
Not intentionally.
No.
Never is, Neil.
Never was. Well, Neil, I guess we'd like to kind of go back down memory lane, if we may, before the band and when you were starting out as a youth.
Yes.
When did you first draw the interest to playing the drums, and at what age? And were your parents supportive of that? Were you banging on kettles and pots and pans in the kitchen as a youth, or?
Well, I was banging on pots and pans in the kitchen, but I also was about 10, 11 years old, and the only instrument that was around our house was a trombone. My mother loved Glenn Miller and was a big Glenn Miller fan, and she played trombone in the marching band when she was in high school. And so that's the instrument that I got thrown at me, and I wanted to play drums. And but I was so terrible at playing trombone that my music instructor almost wrapped it around my head when I was probably in fifth or sixth grade. And so after that, I mean, to his delight and especially my delight, I had a cousin. He gave me a Fields. At the time it was a new Ludwig field snare drum. It's all wooden drum and big, tall, long field snare drum like you saw in the marching bands in high school. And that's what I learned. I took 2 years and played that, and through junior high and through elementary school, junior high school, and 1 year of high school in the Midwest in Ohio, where I'm originally from. And summer of '63, I moved to, and I was playing in bands, marching band, or any place I could throw a stick. Actually, I was playing in amateur theaters too, and that's where was first sparked my interest in acting and theater, and the link, the marriage between music and theater, which is. Oh, but whether it's movies or Broadway or whatever, music is huge in that, and so that was one of the things that inspired me at an early age. But by the time I was 15 years old in 1963, my mother and my sister and I, my mother raised us. She was divorced before we were in elementary school, and she wanted to move to Phoenix, Arizona, and I said, yeah, man, I wanted to move closer to New York or closer to L.A. and Phoenix was a lot closer to L.A., so we moved out there, and I was tired of the winters, as you don't have to worry about too much down there in Florida, I guess. And did either one of you ever live in the colder climate?
Yeah, when I was a kid
I
in
haven't.
'63, when you were 15, I was in kindergarten, and my dad's job took us from California to Illinois, and it was one of the coldest winters on records. It was the year Kennedy was shot in '63, and it was 53 below zero that year. I'll never forget. Because I remember one time we went to see the Christmas lights downtown Chicago, and we stopped into a gas station to go to the restroom, and the toilet water had frozen over.
Right.
So
I can't deal with the snow. I've been up to Pennsylvania once before, and it was below something or other, and it was just way too cold for me.
Well, being in LA was kind of cool.
It's pretty, but I just can't deal with it every day.
So we went out there to Phoenix, and I went to Camelback High School out there, and finished my junior and senior year, and then went to and I was playing in bands. I played in an orchestra again, marching band, but it was still freaking hot. I had to bail out of the marching band. I mean, I can't put one of those big suits on where you go marching up and down the football field in 105-degree heat. I mean, it's just insane. And I said, okay, that's the other extreme from the cold. So I bailed on that, but I stayed in orchestra and band, but not marching band at Camelback High School in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had a couple of bands. The Laser Beats was my high school band. Then I graduated and went to junior college. My second year of junior college, there was a band that was the biggest band in the Valley of the Sun, which was Phoenix, and they did a lot of the British invasion music at that time in the mid-'60s, and they were called the Spiders, and they played at a place called the VIP, and I was very, very aware of them, and as fate would have it, by school year 66 to 67, I was going to the same school that they were, junior college, Glendale Community College in Glendale, which is just northwest of Phoenix. And at that time, I was in a band that was like San Francisco band from Tempe. And now I'm out of high school, so I don't have to worry about my hair anymore. So I let it grow the second I was out of high school, and basically it never stopped. And so the band I was in, it was called the Holy Grail. We eventually went to San Francisco and broke up, and that was by then I met Glenn, the guitar player from Spiders, and he was in art class with me. Vince, who became Alice, he was in art class with me. Dennis, the bass player, he was in art class, and So we all got to be friends just from the standpoint of, we were all in the same school together. And so it ended up that I lived with him in Santa Monica, and they changed the name of the band from the Spiders to the Nas, and they went over to LA to make it, and I went to San Francisco to make it, and my band broke up, and they were kind enough to let me bring my drums, moving in the house with them, and while I was with them in the fall of '67, their drummer just abruptly quit and went back to Phoenix, and they asked me, Neil, because I had a pretty good reputation at that time in Phoenix, and people knew who I was, and I said, they asked me if I wanted to join the band. I said, let's see, I have to play with my best friends. Yes. Didn't take too long to answer that question. And a lot of important decisions you make in life, you should take at least 24 hours to decide. But this one took me maybe 24 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was, and then that spring we changed the name of the band from the Nas to Alice Cooper, and the rest, as they say, is history. But
well, how did the name Alice Cooper come into play?
The name?
Yeah.
Well, Todd Rundgren had his band, the Nas, Todd Rundgren's Nas, and they got a record deal in early 1968. And it's like the unwritten rule of, if there's a band that gets signed to a record deal and you just happen to have the same name, you've got to change your name of your band. So we did. And there were a couple of different names going around. And if you've seen the new movie Super Duper Alice Cooper,
yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How you felt?
I tell the story about. Because it's kind of been swept under the rug, and it was a Ouija board. We were in Phoenix. Because once we lived in L.A., we'd go back and forth from Phoenix to L.A. Whenever we needed money, we'd go back to Phoenix and play a gig for like 10 times as much money as we get in L.A. and then go back again. But we were back there hanging out with some friends, and the Ouija board came out, and we were all playing it. I played it, and it you start talking about past lives, where you lived, how you died, what happened, and
I had one of those when I was a kid.
and I played it, and then Alice and Dick Phillips. Dick Phillips was a guy that was like a manager at the time, and he also went to school with us at Glendale Community College, and still to this day is a friend of ours. And he sat down, he played the Ouija board with me, and then he sat down with Alice and played it. And while Alice was in the name of the past life, it spelled out Alice Cooper right on the Ouija board. And a lot of people said, oh, the story's well, I was there, and it's not BS. That's where the name came from.
That's very cool.
In the movie Super Duper Alice Cooper, for the very first time, it goes on record that I tell the story and narrate it, and that's the truth, and that's where the name came from. But we, it wasn't right then when we wanted to change the name. It was. Not until we heard about the Nas, and we had about half a dozen names like any band would throw around, and then one night we moved to Topanga Canyon at this time, in one of the canyons outside of
in LA, right?
Coldwater Canyon, Laurel Canyon, Topanga Canyon outside of LA, and we were all in Hollywood partying one night, and because we had a band van, that's odd, but we had a band van, and we got in, we all went back, and almost like simultaneously, like one voice, we said, let's change the name of the band, Alice Cooper.
Okay.
And it stuck, and that was it. That was the name of the band.
So what were you, like 16 or 17 at the time of now? 15?
The time?
Right now?
That was 68, so
19.
So at that time, I had just turned 20 years old.
20?
Right, he was already out of high school and community college.
Gotcha. So how did
20, yeah.
So how did your mother feel when you came home in those platform shoes?
Well, that was it was she, like I said, she loved music, and so she didn't like the lifestyle because there was plenty of alcohol and drugs and women around, and so she. We were. I went to my mother raised my sister and I as Lutheran from the time that we were babies till I left the house when I was 19 years old till I left home, and I went to church every single Sunday, and was always with church affiliated events, and it was just a great social place for me. I mean, I had girlfriends in church and girlfriends in high school, and some of them were the same. But so it was a great social outlet for me. And then, of course, the school was great to have as an outlet for the music. and what have you. But it was, there were times, of course, that when my hair started to get really, really, really long, and because after I left home, any kind of organized religion, I just didn't have anything to do with after that, and I think religion's very personal, and whatever works for you is what should work for you, and so when I finally bought my mom a house, she really didn't care about anything else.
Here, Mom, here's a house and 2 cars and a garage and a dog. Well, Neil, let me ask you. So, how did when you guys had the band going and you had the band name Alice Cooper? Now, I heard this. I think I read it in Rolling Stone. Or correct me if I'm wrong. That when wasn't members of the press were interviewing you guys, and they weren't sure exactly that the name Alice Cooper was a band name as opposed to Vincent singing lead, that he was actually Alice Cooper or being named, and you guys just kind of went, well, who's Alice Cooper? And you guys were kiddingly said, well, it's him, pointing to Vince, as opposed to it being the name of the band. Is that true?
Well, I don't remember exactly which article that was, Ian, but what happened was that when we changed the name of the band to Alice Cooper, then eventually over a period of weeks and months, we started just saying, well, we got a band called Alice Cooper. There's nobody really called Alice, so why don't we call Vince Alice? He was cool with it, and because he pretty much went along with everything that we did, and and the idea was that we were just trying to get somebody's attention, because we did all original material, and that was the one thing I loved about these guys. We're all writing music, and the albums that became our first 2 albums, Pretty's for You and Easy Action. Right. And so early on, we started calling him Alice, and it just sort of, we had, it was like the first concept, that when somebody comes to see this, they think maybe it's like Mary Travers from Peter, Paul and Mary. It's a blonde folk singer sitting on a stool on stage with an acoustic guitar and starts singing folk songs. And then it's this crazy, band from outer space with all those shiny clothes and the smoke and the loud music and everything, and they're playing these crazy songs, and it's nothing like they would imagine the name Alice Cooper to be. It was very all-American kind of household, name. So that was the first concept that we had. That would be, that was because it was just the tip of the iceberg for the shock values, the shocking things that we were going to do. At the time were pretty crazy. There was never had been a band with a woman's name, an all male band with a woman's name. Never. So at that time, everything we were doing was kind of like wide open, and it was the beginning of. But it was something around that, and it worked because Frank Zappa then heard about this band called Alice Cooper, and the lead singer's name was Alice. Mm-hmm. So our concept early on to get somebody's attention in the record business worked, and it was Frank Zappa.
That's cool. That's so cool. Now, once that recognition started happening, and then you were doing like area local gigs, like did you guys play the Troubadour, the Whiskey Go Go, that kind of stuff on Sunset?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We played. All those places.
Okay. Now,
a lot of times we did auditions and we didn't get the jobs, but it was as I said, L.A. was tough for us.
Right.
They really didn't get it. They didn't get it. We didn't make much money in L.A. We got a record deal, which was phenomenal.
Right.
But we played. We played or auditioned the clubs and didn't get but we played the Whiskey, and the very first time Led Zeppelin was there, and I think it was early '69. We opened for them.
Wow.
And it was on their first American tour, and it was Led Zeppelin and Alice Cooper at the Whiskey A Go Go, and. They all caught the flu, so it was a 5-night gig, and they all got sick, got the flu. They played the first night, and then we just finished off the week ourselves. But we had a lot of friends there and stuff, so it was fun.
So was 18 your first big hit?
Yes, we had singles off of Pretty's for You, and we had singles off of Easy Action, but nothing to the it was we actually charted in the top 30, top 20 with I'm 18.
Well, let me ask you something.
Billboard.
How is it that you feel that, because sometimes when you do because I think 18 was on your second or third album, is that right?
Third album, which we were very, very lucky to get 3 albums.
Yeah, I was going to say.
commercially not successful.
Yeah, because it was going to say by the second album, if you don't hit it, then they usually will drop you. But when you got 18 on your third album, what do you think would you attribute your success from that point to say Billion Dollar Baby, where you had, gosh, 8 or 9 songs on that album that just kicked it all out of the groove? And I mean, you had Elected and Number Mr. Nice Guy and all the rest of them that were out there. Billion Dollar Baby as well. That a lot of the underground radio stations, like when I grew up in Palo Alto, K-San there at Stanford and San Francisco were playing, a good chunk of all that. And we all just latched onto that, and everyone out went about Billion Dollar Baby albums. And of course, then you're developing your stage show and everything with all the antics and the theatrics of the spider and everything else that you guys were doing and having a blast doing it. But what would you attribute that between the 5 of you guys, jumping from that point of when you're doing Elected with one hit on one album, and then you get to Billion Dollar Baby and explode? What would be the main success of that, or the key behind that?
Well, just to back up one step from that, from Easy Action to Love It to Death, what we needed was we had a record company. We had Frank Zappa and Straight Records. We had Shep Gordon and Joe Greenberg, who are our managers of Live Enterprises, and everybody in our camp, because Frank Zappa wanted us to sign with his manager, Herbie Cohen, but we wanted our own managers, because we said, but Herbie Cohen already manages you. We want somebody that manages us. So we found Shep Gordon and Joe Greenberg. They were 2 New York guys that came out from New York, one in L.A., and were looking for something to do. And they hadn't managed bands before, but they told us they did, but they didn't. And so we were impressed with them. We thought these guys would be great, and we used that. They negotiated the deal with Frank Zappa for us. We had a contract with them, and then after that, so we had 2 albums that really didn't go anywhere. And even though I still love those albums and they're great, and the fans love them too now, but we needed a hit, and so we needed that third element. We had the band, we had the name Alice Cooper, we had our management team, but we needed a producer, like George Martin was for the Beatles. I mean, we needed that person. We needed to find that person, and that person to us was Jack Richardson's with Nimbus 9 out of Toronto, Ontario. And why? Because we knew that one of the strongest bands with great string of hits was the Guess Who. And no matter what you think about them or their music or anything, they had hit after hit after hit after hit, and they were setting a lot of great records. And so we said we want to get involved with that company, and that's when they finally agreed to listen to us. It was Bob Ezrin that listened to us, and he was just a new kid. He just was a brand new. I think he was 18 years old, and they sent him down to New York to listen to us. We played Max's Kansas City, so that was the key element there. That's what got us from Easy Action, our second album, to Love It to Death, our third album on Warner Brothers. So we were now with Warner Brothers. So my point going forward again was the producer was the biggest thing that we needed. And we actually had tons of publicity because the name Alice Cooper, I mean, we get articles in Time Magazine, Newsweek. We had done the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival with John Lennon, and that's where the chicken incident happened. I got tons of publicity.
Right.
We got tons of publicity, but we had nothing to sell. So we needed that. And that's where Love It to Death started. That's where I'm 18 came into play. And that was really the fuse that was lit for us then.
So then for Billion Dollar Baby, what would you say was because it was a mixture of publicity, good writing skills, good producing skills, good marketing skills that bellied everything together that just made Billion Dollar Babies explode the way it did?
Well, one major thing that I think is very, very key and not too many people talk about is that going from the 60s, there was a certain mood and climate, with the British invasion and the San Francisco sound and the hippies and all that stuff. Right. The music was definitely changing. Los Angeles didn't get us. Detroit got us. It was all power. The MC5, the Stooges, Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes. It was all power rock and roll. And all of a sudden we found an audience there. And the music was changing. That's my point. And it was changing big time. And so my point is timing. And what we were doing once we had our formula for our band and our management and our producer together, if that all happened and it wasn't timing and it was still the '60s, it might not have worked.
Right.
But now we're killing our lead singer every single night. There's blood, there's guts, there's theatrics, there's snakes. Nobody'd ever seen anything like this. And the teenagers, the music fans in America and in Europe and in Canada were all ready for something new that was their music for their generation, and we just happened to be there at the right time. So, Ian, what you're saying is true. All those things you mentioned are all a part of it, but timing was so key for us.
Right.
But the songwriting was getting better and better and better, and now Bob Ezrin was, every album he was producing for us was going farther up the charts, and everybody was had the same quest. And Bob was producing other albums for other bands at the time, but we were still like, we were all family. I mean, still to this day. I just saw him about a month ago. We did a session, and I can't really talk too much about that right now, but you'll hear about it. Trust me. And so that was, something had to happen. Music was where we'd gone through Vietnam now,
right,
and all the innocence of the hippies and everything, that was all gone. I mean, we saw that war on TV every single night and people getting killed and bodies, and I mean, it was the world was changing. And then there was Watergate, so that was all a part of it. But a lot of it was the songwriting was great. Bob Ezrin he got it. He understood what we were trying to do, and we worked great together as a unit because we all wrote individually and we all collaborated. If you go through all the songs, like I'm Elected, that's all of our names on it for songwriting. School's Out, all of our names. I'm 18, all of our names, and then everybody wrote together as well. So that was part of it. But the timing and the change in the culture was huge back then.
Do you think also that you guys kind of piggybacked off of each other as far as Alice Cooper as a group, along with like Led Zeppelin and some of the other power bands that were playing at that time? Because it seemed to me that as a teenager at that time, going through what I was going through, and obviously, as I mentioned before, you guys had such a strong influence in my life. But as we're talking and listening to you now, I think some of the things that kind of come to surface is realizing that songs like maybe Stairway to Heaven or Rocket or Black Mountain and some of the other Led Zeppelin songs that had such strong power chords and such powerful messages in their songs that when Billion Dollar Baby came aboard, that it would just kind of fell into soup with the audiences started to grow into that, if you want to call it metal rock or heavy metal or heavy rock at that time, that allowed just to kind of carry everyone so that you had other groups that followed you guys as well down the road.
Deep Purple.
Well, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, we, all the bands right there. I mean, there were still so many varieties of music back in the late '60s and early '70s. So many. I mean, you go to one of the big outdoor concerts. I mean, you could see so many different styles of music. It was great. But the biggest bands that were doing the biggest tours eventually through the early to mid '70s and sold the most records. I mean, there was a even though they were each unique to themselves, that was all part of that new music, that new generation that was going on that we're talking about. And I mean, Led Zeppelin was doing their own thing. We were doing our own thing. And I got to tell you, I mean, I loved the music, but I was so, I think our band, we were so involved in ourselves that it never influenced us. We knew it was out there.
Right.
Didn't listen to the radio that much. We did all that in the '60s. Now we had the opportunity to do our own thing, and that was priority one for us.
That's so cool. I think that's great to know.
Well, we do have a few questions from the fans because I had posted a promo on Facebook to gather up some questions, and then I want to also talk about your new movie that's coming out. We can do that here in a few minutes as well. But one is from Diane Carroll. She's from Canada, and she wants to know, what do you think of the drummers today?
I don't really listen to too many drummers today. I mean, I like David Grohl. I think he's a great drummer.
Right.
There's a couple that when I see them, they're great. I don't know them by name because I don't really follow that much music. I think anybody that's out there that's a live drummer in the world of techno music and rap and everything, it's just great that they're out there and they're actually playing, live drums, and they're getting on stage and sweating and kicking ass on the drum set. So I think it's great. But I think Dave Grohl is a great drummer,
Yes.
and there's a couple other. There's one named Travis, and I forget his last name. He's an amazing drummer too. He's been around for a while, but unfortunately I don't know that many of their names.
Do you, being a drummer yourself, do you have people like I loved was Buddy Rich and other people, and I heard he was a big idol of yours as well. As you listen to different styles of music, other than just being so influenced and being a leader in rock and roll as well, what other styles of drummers do you like? As far as, do you like R&B, jazz, rock and roll, blues, that kind? And if so, who are some of your favorites?
That's a good question.
Like Gene Krupa?
Well, I love Gene Krupa. To me, he's number one. He's like, Gene Krupa on drums, like Jimi Hendrix on guitar. They just can't be beat. And Buddy Rich is phenomenal. Yeah. He's great. And then that was the swing era, and then going into the early '60s. I'm one of the people. I like both Charlie Watts from the Stones and Ringo from the Beatles. I think Ringo was a perfect drummer for that band, no matter what anybody says.
Right. I agree.
And he worked really, really well with that band. Of course, then you get into the drummers like Mitch Mitchell with Jimi Hendrix, and Ginger Baker with Cream. Then you're starting to talk about upper echelon drummers that are just phenomenal. Yeah. So, and then
Alan
really,
White. Are you a big fan of Alan White? I was going to ask you, are you a big fan of Alan White's? I'm a big fan of his, and yes, and.
No, because I don't like their music. See, I'm a music guy.
Right.
I'm a song guy. Right. If I don't like the song, I don't care what anybody does. I have to like the song.
Yep.
That's why I like country. I like rap. If the song is great, I love it.
I'm the same
But
way.
if I can't get by that, matter of fact, whatever album Yes was recording in 1972, Alice and I went. They had a play session after it was all mixed and mastered, and we were in London. We were recording the $1 Billion Baby album, and we were invited over there to listen to their new album. We fell asleep listening to it. That was their monster album in 72, 73, whatever that was. It was
Roundabout and all that
album.
stuff. Yeah.
What's that?
With Roundabout.
Roundabout. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it took me around about 5 minutes to fall asleep. But
real quick, what kind of music do you listen to today, though? Like, what type of music would you be listening to in your car or something like that?
I've got a huge collection, so I have records and CDs. I very seldom, because I'm always writing stuff, and I don't want to be influenced by anything.
I understand.
So, what I'll do, with YouTube now, I go back, I try to find, again, there's some Elvis songs that are on YouTube that are great, and or there'll be a song like, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. There's a couple different versions of that. I try to find some of the greatest songs that I think have ever been written, and I try to find their really, really good versions, because I think what you listen to influences what you do, and I like to listen to some of the greatest music, whether it's classic, brand new, or goes back to Mozart and Beethoven. I don't care. I'm a big fan of classical as well. So,
I like the Motown.
It depends. It depends on the mood, but I really do like all kinds of music. But I'm a real song person. I have to like the song.
Yeah, I like that song. A Change Is Gonna Come, and that's on YouTube as well. And I think a bunch of different people did that, including Seal. And I thought that version was really cool.
That's a great version.
Brought to memory when you mentioned about they drove Old Dixie Down with Levon Helm, great drummer with the band.
Yeah, Leon Helm's a great drummer, great singer too, and I'm very, very impressed. With my new solo project I've been doing for a while now, Killsmith, I sing. I sing. I've learned some of the songs to sing while I play drums, and it's certainly not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
And it does take a lot of energy. To sing, it takes a lot of energy. To play the way that I play takes a lot of energy. So. I really respect somebody. Leon Helm was, he wasn't a really power drummer, what I would say, but, again, the band, he was great with them, and he had such a signature voice, too. That was phenomenal about him. And it's like Phil Collins. Phil Collins is another great drummer that sings, and they're few and far between.
Now, we had another question from one of our listeners who's also, you might have seen her in a bunch of movies like Grease, who played Patty Simcox. Her name is Susan Buckner, and she's a dear friend of ours. She's been on the show a few times, but she's a big fan of Alice Cooper, and she wanted to know what medium do you like to venture into? Do you have other stuff that you're doing, like hobbies like surfboards or cars or anything like along the line, other than what we know you do real estate now and everything, but is there any side hobbies that you really dig on that you want to share with us?
Well, I've done a lot of those things. I mean, I got into cars back in the 70s and 80s, big time, and then so I got that out of my system. And but you know what, they still do catch my eye. I'll tell you that much. And but I am working on a movie right now, and I've been doing the residential real estate in New England, here in Connecticut for since about 1985. So I've been doing it a long time, and I really enjoy that. And it is like a second career for me. And if you go to my websites or anything, Neil's just Google me, and you can see what I'm up to, but as far as hobbies, I love to play golf, and I live on a golf course now.
Oh, I want to learn how to do that.
I enjoy that, and it's my problem is I don't like to do things unless I really super succeed. I want to be an overachiever, and I've done it through my whole life. So when I suck at golf, it's a bad day for me. So people say, well, you have to play golf, go out and relax. And I said, well, I'm still waiting for that. I've been playing over 20 years. I'm still waiting for that day when I go out and relax to play golf. I only play against myself. I don't bet, don't get in any tournaments. I'm just trying to make the best possible shots I can make.
Right.
So that's one hobby, but I'm not totally obsessed with it. I don't have 100 sets of golf clubs or anything like that. But I do enjoy it. I have probably my biggest collection of anything are my drums. I still have all the drums I've ever played.
Oh, really?
And I also have many more drums that I've accumulated over the years too.
Right. That was one of our questions we had was
Ed had the Slinger head and your Premier drums. You still have those?
Yeah, I still have. Yeah. Slingerland gave me 2 sets of drums. They were the original Silver Sparkle, and then the Schools Out set, the Chrome set, and then Premier gave me the set that became the mirrored set. I had the roadies put the mirrors on.
Now, are they set up, Neil, or do you have them tucked away in the garage somewhere?
Not in the garage. No, I have them in I have like a little
studio.
I have a studio, but I also have plenty of storage where I live. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you ever want to, if I'm ever up in your area,
but it's all climate control stuff.
That's good.
I can't let this stuff just sit in in a place that'll get cold or hot.
Oh, of course. Do you want to check out your clip from the movie now?
Oh yeah, let's check out his clip.
All right, did you see it? Oh, okay.
No, we have.
Yeah, we're going to roll it.
We're going to cue it up here, Neil.
Yeah, we're going to roll it so the people who haven't
seen it.
This is
Neil's new movie. That's Neil. Did you produce and direct this, or just star in it, or what's the scoop on this?
No. I'm just. I have a friend of mine. His name's Jason Bird, and he's a photographer friend of mine that has been doing. We've been working together for decades, really a long time. He's a great guy, very talented, and he got into film a couple of years ago, and he wrote a screenplay that I was very impressed with. It's called Desolation Angels: Rise of the Boas, and he needed, he has it's a nice cast, but the screenplay is very, very good. And he asked me to play one of the lead roles in it, which is I play a Russian mob boss who's like the Don Corleone from
Godfather,
St. Petersburg, and so that's been a fun project I've been working on. It's going to be a long time in the making, but it's a great group of people, guys and gals that are acting in the movie, and it'll be fun, and hopefully we'll get it done one of these days.
All right, well let's check out the clip real quick.
Yeah, we have it queued up, so here we go.
All right, we'll be right back with you, Neil.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Jason Bird, and we're here this afternoon to introduce and ask for money from Kickstarter. We'd like to try and raise $50,000. I've written a movie, and I'm directing it. It's a story of a bunch of mercenaries that are hired by our government to disrupt the relationship between the Mexican cartel and the Russian mob. Like in most Greek tragedies, unfortunately things don't go as planned, and we today have with us 2 of our main characters. To my left is Yuri Strenkov, and to my right is Yannick. I'm sorry, Yannick, I don't know your last name.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. So anyhow, Yuri, would you say a few words about the movie and your part in it, please?
Yes, Jason. I would like to talk a little bit about my role as a Russian mobster. First of all, I think we're very misunderstood. We try to do what's best for our community and the American way of life. In a way, you can think of me as kind of a powerful garbage collector. That's why I hire good, hard working people like my friend Yannick here. And my job is to clean up messes that happen in my community. And I need good men like this. Yannick, would you please clean up this sabach?
That's be my pleasure, Yuri. This Sabat look like he definitely needs to be cleaned. He smells like pig. Yuri, it's done.
People out there, we would appreciate you helping us raise the $50,000. We need to buy good equipment for the movie. And, as you can see, we need a new director. So please tell people about our new movie, Desolation Angels, Rise of the Boys. Goodbye and pleasant dreams. Настроение.
There you go, Neil.
All
Very
right,
funny.
We're back.
Just a little something to do during the winter months,
Well, it's all in good
snow's
fun,
blowing.
You got to live life, to its fullest, right? Right, Neil?
Das Vidanya.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I have my grandfather on my father's side was Russian, so I was very familiar with with the accent as growing up as a child, and also
Great
yeah,
job.
the fellow that plays Yannick, he's on the show Blue Bloods occasionally.
Oh, okay. In New York
So
City.
so there's some there's some other people that have done some nice work, and that's why I'm very excited about it. This, like I said, the story's a great story, and we've done about maybe filmed some of the scenes, some of the main scenes from the movie have been filmed already. So we just continue on. What can I say? It's just another it's a fun project to do. Yeah, I'll be involved in the music for the soundtrack. And using some existing some existing music. Some of the other people involved in the movie also are musicians, and so we have a nice variety of music to listen to, and I've written the theme song from the movie, Desolation Angels.
Oh, right on.
So,
cool.
That's really cool.
And because all the Killsmith stuff I write, I've written now four solo albums. And so that's I've collaborated in the past, but now I really like to it's a challenge for me because I play keyboards and also play guitar. And on all the Killsmith music, I play all the rhythm guitars that are on there. It's like some heavy metal stuff.
Yeah, I saw your video with all those sexy women.
Ooh. Now, I'll say the one thing about the Russian character you're portraying is I don't know if I'd want to buy a house from him. Would you?
I might, because I thought he did a great job.
Well, especially if I got a
here's the thing: you wouldn't have a choice, Ian.
What's that?
I said you wouldn't have a choice.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he had a gun.
That's right. He's got that 357.
I can be very I don't. I'm not particularly persuasive, but my friend Yannick, he's very persuasive.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
we
would.
saw that.
I'd get a 3-bedroom condo in no time.
I'm going to get in my car and go back to Deltona.
I meant to ask you, kind of quickly. Did you ever get married, have kids as well, and start a family?
I have a son who lives in Albuquerque. Who I had a beautiful girlfriend in Los Angeles, and about the same time that we were getting our deal with Frank Zappa, she became with child, and unfortunately, he was raised in Albuquerque with relatives. She moved to London. I was on the road. We really lost touch with each other. I was married to another lady in 1973, right after the $1 Billion Baby tour, and so I actually had a child before I was married, but not, she had nothing to do with it. She was a child herself from originally from Germany. She was from Toronto. She was born in Cologne, Germany, and we were married for about 7 years, and it was probably the most unwise thing I'd ever done in my life. It just, drummers just should never be married.
That's a long time though for being unwise.
7 years.
7 years is a long time these days.
But
But I
retirement,
have somebody now that I've lived with. Her name's Rose, and we've been together for about over 20 years. So.
Oh wow, that's great. Well, I have one
And
more
she's
question
also-
for you too.
There you
She's
go.
also in the real estate business. That's,
Oh,
that was.
You guys have like little
So
friendly
it's
competitions about who gets to sell how many houses this month or something?
Well, the market is certainly. Let's put it this way: the market has been very interesting in the last 5 years, and
Yep.
we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm on the same page.
Gotcha.
I understand exactly what's going on with that. I got another question from another fan, Anna, and I think she's in Arizona, and she wants to know when the book is coming out. If it has.
When my book is coming out.
Yeah.
Well, I've been working on it quite a while. Dennis has been working on a book too, and I think his is pretty near completion. And mine is still a ways off, still a few years off. With the Hall of Fame and what's been going on the last couple of years with the music of the original band and my Killsmith project, I have kind of put it on the back burner, but I've got to get because I have a co-writer that's working with me in New York, and she's a writer in the music industry, and we probably have maybe 300 pages or something like that now.
I got you.
So it'll be out eventually, and I can guarantee that.
That's great because I'm interested in reading that as well.
Now, other than Dennis, do you still keep in touch with the other members of the original Alice Cooper band, with Vince and some of the other guys? And do you call him Vince or do you call him Alice when you talk to him?
Well, I mean, I was probably one of the first guys to call him Alice. I mean, I just thought it was great, and I've always been comfortable calling him Alice, and but everybody in the band call him Alice, and to this day they do, and I just we had the film festival in New York, Tribeca,
Right.
where the Super Duper Alice Cooper movie was premiered in March. Alice was there, and Shep Gordon, our manager, was there, and Dennis was there, and my sister Cindy was there, and Rose and I were there. So, and last year I went to 2 of Alice's concerts here in Connecticut. So we get together a lot. I like to go to Arizona and play golf in the wintertime, and so we do see each other a lot. Dennis, the original bass player and another founding member of the band, he married my sister in 1974, and they have 2 beautiful daughters, my nieces, Chelsea and Renee. So they live about 45 minutes away from me here in Connecticut. So we get to see each other. Unfortunately, not as much as we like to, but we get to see each other, quite often.
They still do.
That's nice that you guys still have fond memories with each other, and that it wasn't amicable to the point where you want to wring each other's neck. Or
I mean,
like that.
the band breakup is a whole other story.
Right.
But the one thing that was never going to happen was the camaraderie between what I felt we all had together. Mike Bruce, our guitar player and main songwriter, he's still in Arizona, and of course Glenn Buxton, our guitar player, who was the blonde bombshell. That he was from Akron, Ohio, also not far. I also lived in Akron many years when I lived in Ohio. So,
right.
We had a very tight bond because we were, we probably lived only a couple miles from each other when we lived there, but we never knew each other till we moved to Arizona.
Wow.
So, in the band, we lived under the same roof. You have to remember, we lived under the same roof from 1967 to about 1974. And, we always had a band house. Even through the big success of it wasn't until later on, right before the band broke up, that we all got our own places. So it was, the band, you have to have great chemistry to do that. And these are people that it's not like a family where you're forced to live with people.
Right.
These are people that you chose to be with.
Right.
Right.
And we were great, man. It was great. We had always had fun, and we were laughing, and of course, we were drinking, smoking joints all the time. But I mean, that was just part of the lifestyle back
Sure.
then.
What
And,
is your favorite Alice Cooper song to play?
That's a good
play?
question. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot, because if you listen to them, a lot of them have a heavy drum influence. Of course, $1 Billion Babies is probably my signature song, and that's a great one. Another one I love to play. That may be I mean, I wrote the whole thing, and so for me, it's not hard to play, but I know other drummers have had a lot of difficulty learning that song.
Okay.
But that happens. So $1 Billion Babies is right there. Also, I like Generation Landslides, another Black Juju's, another one with all the tom toms and everything.
Right.
So there were a lot of songs that I'd say $1 Billion Babies.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I mean, that was one of the few songs I remember taking my LP and stopping and starting and stopping and starting just so I could learn the
Just
lyrics.
so you can figure it out.
Well, yeah. And for me, I caught on pretty quick, so it wasn't too difficult for me. But I mean, I just loved the.
Wait a second. You mean you figured it out quick?
I did. I
didn't.
hate to tell you that, Neil, but no, I was a fast learner.
Did you
and,
really?
I did.
I don't believe you.
Well, I got this is a true story. It was a guy named John.
So you graduated summa cum laude, is what you're trying to say?
No, I graduated. Lordy, how come? But that's a whole different story. But no, a friend of mine, John Berg, and I, no joke. I was about 15, 16, and we're the same age, and we had $1 Billion Baby on, and I said, "You got to listen to this lick." And he goes, and I said, "Try and duplicate this." So we were doing like some Zeppelin stuff from John Bonham, of course, rock god as well. And so I said, "You try $1 Billion Baby," and he played it on, and I said, "Okay." So he tried it, and he tried it a couple times, and he was having a hard time with it. And he said, "How you doing?" I said, "Well, it's like a little triplicate in there, so you have to go." And he goes, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, just let the stick ride on the snare, and then you can just wrap it up, and then you can duplicate it." And he goes, "Okay, try it." So we put the LP on, we over and over and over again. Probably took us about half an hour, and it was like I felt proud because I was the mentor and he was the muse.
Yeah.
And yet we're copying Neil Smith there and going, this Neil Smith's becoming a rock god, man.
Yeah, whatever.
So, and so all to say was that for us, I mean, $1 Billion Baby, I dreamed that song in my head and thinking about listening to the lyrics as and having Donovan sing on it as well.
Oh,
and,
I
with
love
Alice.
Donovan.
I just saw
great.
something online where Donovan is actually talking about when he did that in Morgan Studios in late 1972. It was one of the last tracks that we were recording in London, and he was talking about it. And he told the story, because it's been debated over time. Who actually sang that. And I mean, I always tell everybody it was Donovan, but it was the first time I ever saw him actually say that that he did it, and we asked him to come down and sing it, and it was it was totally different than anything he'd ever done, but he was very psyched to try something, and I think he did an awesome job. And again, the British Invasion, he was one of our favorite guys too. He was great.
I loved Mark Bolan too from T-Rex. He was one of my favorites. I loved him. I idolized him.
Well, Mark was at that. He was at Morgan Studios too, but
nice.
Alice, Mark Bolan, and Keith Moon and myself, the four of us just got shit-faced drunk. And
I was going to say, you said Keith
Moon.
Moon.
All I remember, Mark Bolan kept asking Keith Moon to start a band with him.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going, that's the
Well, I love the slider. I thought that was
ever heard
cool.
in my life.
Yeah.
Stupidest idea, for sure.
The styles don't even mesh at all, but he was relentless. He kept saying, "Keith, come on, man, let's start a band." And I'm sitting there, that's a dumb idea. You guys' styles are so different, but they were drunk. They probably never remembered it.
Of course. Did you ever run past it with Carl Palmer as well?
No, I never met those guys, and I think he's a phenomenal drummer. He was right at the same time as I was. So John Bonham to me was the in the '70s like the premier drummer, and then later on the drummer for the Police. I forget his name.
Stuart Copeland. Yeah, he does a lot of soundtracks. I think now too for
drummer.
movies.
But John Bonham, he just could turn beats around and stuff. And the main thing about John Bonham is that Jimmy Page got one of the best drum sounds ever recorded in rock history on any band, anywhere, anytime, acoustically with John Bonham's drums. I mean, till this day, I don't know how he did it, but they're just so phenomenal. And every time I heard a Led Zeppelin, I said, "Oh man, I'd love because our drum sound were a little bit more commercial, traditional, for what we were doing. And but I said, man, they just have. John Bonham has such a great drum sound that when it was Jimmy Page that produced them, so that was a compliment for him.
Oh, most definitely. And it's interesting because his son Jason is just incredible as well, and has that same just hard underdrive.
He had that one
drive.
Hit out back then.
That's got to be in the genes then.
It has to be the DNA thing.
Well,
if you ever saw The Song Remains the Same, you could see Jason at the age of 4 pounding it out with his dad side by side, and it was just pretty amazing to watch all that stuff going down.
Well, I saw Ringo's son, Zach Starkey, about a year and a half ago at the Mohegan Sun here in Connecticut, play with the Who.
Right.
And I saw him a few years ago when the Who did the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I was really, really unimpressed with him. And it was like he was, he just wasn't on fire. I said, man, I was playing that show, you just go nuts. But when I saw them at Mohegan Sun, the 2-hour show they did, he was phenomenal. Oh man, he was, and Keith Moon's one of my all-time favorite rock drummers.
Right.
And I saw Keith. We played some shows together and stuff. But he was just amazing live. But Zach I got to tell you, he did a phenomenal job with the Who songs, and I was very, very impressed with him. I got to sit at the sound check. I got to sit down on his DW drums and give him a little bit of a spin.
I got a personal question for you, Neil. Now, I know when you go into real estate, you're thinking about numbers all the time. Did you ever sit at your desk in your office and sit down and calculate all the concerts you've ever done and then how many people you've ever played for, to think about how many concerts you did, how many times you played $1 Billion Babies, how many times you did this over the course
Oh, that would be fun.
And just kind of calculate those times. I did that with my...
Be mind-racking, but it'd be
fun.
The
reason that's not a strange question is because I was one of the people that kept a really, really good diary of every night that we played. So, which has been helping me immensely in writing my book, to kind of bring certain events, certain dates back to life. And I've never done that because I have better things to do with my life. Ian,
I just thought about maybe you played 5,000 concerts as opposed to 10,000 concerts as opposed to 15.
Well, you would figure out that what did we do in
a year's
the
time?
$1 Billion Baby tour? I think we did 60 shows in 90 days or 60, whatever. So obviously I played $1 Billion Babies every night. So it's like 60 times. It's whatever it was, or 90. It's not a tremendous amount of times.
Right.
And because you really play the song one time a night in a show, and we were on the road continually up till we started headlining. After school's out, we headlined every single show we ever played.
Right.
I mean, the band broke up at the top of our game.
Oh, wow.
And after school's out, we didn't open for anybody ever again on the planet. And so that, to me, that was kind of the testimonial that if we're going to break up, and everybody does eventually, well, except for the Rolling Stones, but everybody does eventually, and that if you're going to go out, you're going to go out on top. It's not a bad thing to do.
Was there one particular concert that stands out among the rest in your career playing with Alice Cooper?
Well, the last one that it was the last tour that we did, and we opened up the market in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We played I think it's a Hambi Arena there, and we had 125,000 people indoors. And we flew down there specifically to play this concert, and then we did a couple of shows in Rio, and I think maybe a couple of other ones around Brazil. But it wasn't a big tour. But we went down there, and this one show, obviously paid for the tour for us. And but you have to remember, in those days, you went on the road to sell albums, and now people go on the road to make money. Right. But there were 125,000 people indoors. They built a stage specifically for us in this big, huge, giant convention center is what it was. It was like a soccer stadium indoors. Sure. And the people were it looked like a sea of people from where I was on stage behind my drums. Looked like a sea of people, and when they would push all the way from the back, you could see a ripple like a wave come up, and then boom, you feel the whole stage move. And then the police had to come out with their machine guns drawn. I think actually a couple fired shots because they had to calm the crowd down, or the stage was going to come falling down.
Oh my gosh!
And it was kind of scary. We had by that time, everything, we had security, everything was cool, but now we're in another country, and it's saying that Brazil's another country is is an understatement. I mean, I go into a lot of detail in my book about how crazy this tour was for us, but it was the first time that I really didn't feel safe. Wow. And you know, there was a time that the Alice Cooper group was pretty notorious, and we had a lot of death threats, and I think that a lot of people forget about that too. But down there, the kids loved us, the fans loved us, and they were just, I think, super exuberant. That was all.
Now, let me ask you, my last question for you tonight, Neil, is, now, obviously you've had one particular concert, but now, of all the concerts that you were playing, was there one particular song in all the sets that you just sat at your kit and go, oh yeah, okay, now this is my favorite song. I'm just gonna kick ass and we're gonna just make it happen. Was there one particular song that you just looked forward to every single night to play?
Well, there's not really. It was when I went up there, I wrote every single drum beat for every single song we ever did.
Right.
And so when I went up there, and I played through the whole set.
Right.
There was really nothing I could, you know, because I'm a rudimental drummer,
right.
and I approached music very differently than a lot of drummers do.
So it's almost like a play. You got a beginning, middle, and end.
Right. The intro to it, and I love the rudiments, and I still do to this day. But I don't look at it. I mean, when we talked about a song like $1 Billion Babies, yeah, it's a lot of fun to play. But you know what? It's a kick-ass song, and if you're not exhausted before that song, you'll be exhausted afterward.
Yeah.
And it's a very it takes a lot out of you. And
was that your encore song? Was that your signature encore song when you?
No, it was $1 Billion Babies was like in the $1 Billion Baby tour. We did Hello Hooray, and then it went into $1 Billion Babies.
Oh,
it was
really?
like the second song.
What was your encore song back then?
Oh well, it was one of two songs. It was either. I think we had it with Schools Out, and then we would come back on with Under My Wheels. Under My Wheels was probably our biggest encore song.
Yeah, Crocus did that song too. Schools
really?
Out, yeah.
Because Schools Out would be Schools Out was like our biggest single, so that was how we end the show. And then we play Schools Out. I mean, you know, we get an encore and we come back out and we did Under My Wheels. So that was.
Crocus did that song too. How do you feel about that? Crocus did.
What's that?
I said Crocus did that song, Schools Out. Crocus?
The group Crocus?
I'm not hearing you very well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Crocus, remember Crocus back in the day? They did that song.
Oh, the band Crocus.
Yeah.
Well, I'm for anybody. I mean, you know, I get royalties on that song, so let them record it.
He's going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
No, I don't. I encourage any band to record our songs.
That's cool. Well, there's a lot of musicians, I'm sure, watching this show as well. Do you have any advice for any, musicians and, how to pursue their career? Can you
get a real estate license?
Always have a backup crew. I mean, that's very true of all actors
and
musicians.
That's a great question, Kim, because in this day and age, the music business is so different.
Yes, it is.
That's right. It changes over the years, but I really can't because when we came up, it was you write your original material. There was no internet. You had to get a record deal. That's how you got to the public. You got a record deal. Now anybody can record an album.
Right.
Anybody can record a video, and you can
put
it on the internet, and you can become
Justin Bieber.
Become a sensation. I still don't know how people make money off the internet.
It's the same thing with graphic artists and stuff as well. I mean, I'm an artist, and I actually use charcoal and stuff of that nature. And like now, you can buy programs and just cheat your way into it. It's the same thing on YouTube. You see these people that cannot sing, but they can manipulate their voices and make a hit record, and it stinks for the real musicians and artists out there. I miss the true times going back out, to like Virgin record stores and buying the CDs, but I still do hit, the old used CD stores and stuff, and try to, get that feel again of, purchasing, the CDs and the vinyl and stuff of that nature. So
I think to simply answer your question, although the technology's changed, we all know that.
Right, yeah.
That the basis for any group, whether it's was it Shania Twain or some of the gal country singers that manage themselves. My point is that you have to. It's called the music business.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to have the music. You have to be a master at what you do in your songwriting, your stage performance, and mastering your instrument, or if it's your voice or whatever it is. That's a triple crown of success. But to go along with that, complement it, you need a manager or a publicist. There's a business end of it. I know some of the greatest musicians in the world that will never and never did anything because they never had management.
Okay.
And that's why it was so key for us before. I mean, even when Zappa wanted to sign us, we wanted to have our own managers. So, I would have to imagine that's basic business, and that still would hold true today. And a lot of the great musicians, rappers, country singers, rock, whatever it is, they have great management to get because you have a product and somebody's got to figure out how to sell it.
Right.
Most definitely. Neil, this has been an absolute pleasure. This is definitely one of my checkoffs off my bucket list, and meeting you, getting to talk with you, and I appreciate you being so vulnerable to share with a lot of the insights of your career and your musicality and your personal life and so forth. And I just personally, from the bottom of my heart, want to say thank you.
I had a great time.
I did too. This has been a
Well,
wonderful
I
time.
appreciate it, and if we can get the fans to come by, neilsmith.com,
That'd be great.
my website, or
Okay.
or neilsmith.com Facebook, and say hi. That's always great too. And I have a new album coming out, hopefully by the end of the summer. It's called Killsmith and the Greenfire Empire, and it's a concept album I've been working on for a little over a year and a half now, and so I'm still trying to keep busy with the music. It's the love of my life.
You're very
It
busy.
is.
He's
I
in a
know.
movie.
Well, now
he
see,
has
Neil's giving me a
music
reason.
out.
Neil's giving me a reason too. One, to
For
get
what?
back into golf and to get up to Connecticut to visit so we can play
I am
golf.
doing golf.
Well, we can do
I've
golf.
already talked
Okay, Neil,
about
do we
it.
have a standing date? Do we have a standing date to meet together? Either you come down here to Florida and the three of us, maybe we'll find a foursome somewhere. Maybe we'll get Vince and have him come out from Arizona or LA, and we'll do a foursome, the four of us, and get in our golf swings.
I love to play golf in Florida and California. I mean, they're two of my in the wintertime. I'm not a heat person anymore, but that would be great.
Well,
I've
in the
just been
fall it's nice
talking.
here. It's where the what do you call it?
I was just talking about learning how to play golf this
Yeah, we
week.
could do that.
Actually,
Neil
I don't
could-
know how to play,
I-
so
it's
he
been
would
a while
have
for
to
me,
he
too.
would have to teach me
That's
how.
fine. Neil, you want to be our instructor?
I mean, it's up to him though. I don't want to put put him
Pressure.
on the
See,
spot.
that's a problem. That's one of the gifts that I didn't receive on any level.
What's
Because
that?
I've asked, people have been asking me many times to teach drums, and
Uh-huh.
I said, that's a very special gift that people have, and that's why I love and respect teachers so much. And I joke about school, but I mean, the teachers are so important, and,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and they do have a gift, and when they have the ability to relate and teach, that is amazing. And unfortunately, I can't do that with either drums
Right.
or golf. So
Okay, I
All
will.
right. Well, then
I'm a
we'll
terrible
brush up on it.
I'll
and then
drive the golf cart.
Okay, and I can caddy
I
for
can teach you
Neil,
that.
and then I'll just watch him and see if I can work on my backswing. But
All right.
are you in New Haven, or what part of Connecticut you live in?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm not too far from, actually in the Westport area is where I work out of,
Oh, okay.
and Westport is very near Norwalk, Connecticut, and so this is Lower Fairfield County, not too far from the New York border in Westchester.
All right. I used to do some stuff for WWF back in the '80s when I did voice announcing for them out of Stamford, Connecticut. And so,
Well, that's
then they moved.
that's right next to Greenwich, where the band.
Right.
When we moved here from Detroit, Michigan,
Uh-huh.
we moved to Greenwich, Connecticut, which is right next to Stanford.
All right, cool. Well, Neil, thanks again so much.
That's
It's been an
definitely been a
absolute pleasure, and we definitely want to get you come down sometime, and maybe we'll do a clinic of some sort, and just having some people just share their hearts in the business. And of course, everyone's been tuning. We've got about 2 million followers, so we really pumped up having you as our guest
Most
today.
definitely. Thank you
And
so much for taking the
just
time.
Absolutely.
All right,
jazzed.
guys. Thank you. It was great. It was my pleasure, and have a great summer.
You too.
We
We'll be
will.
in touch with you.
Thanks again, Neil.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. You're welcome.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, guys, wow, I'm flabbergasted. Kim, how you doing? Are you flabbered or are you gasted?
Neither.
You're neither.
No.
You just tuckered out.
I had a really good time
Hey,
talking to him.
I did too. I mean, he was everything I thought he would be, and it wasn't like some lady.
Did you learn a lot?
I did. I learned to sit back and just listen to his pilgrimage of his life and to see.
Well, it's about time.
Oh, shut up! Shut up!
But I do have something for you if you just want to keep talking.
Well,
to
then I'll
our
keep talking.
audience and
Guys, thanks so much. Again, you can go to neilsmith.com to check out his new some of his new projects coming up as we're winding down the show right now. And then also don't forget for everyone to go to FFIE, the
Okay.
Florida Film Industry Expo.com for the expo coming up. And what else, Matt? What do we got? Anything else going? So www.ffixpo.com. Get your tickets now. And then
I'll just keep it.
And then we have, no, you won't. And then Doug Vader, Doug Vader Films, Vader Entertainment Live.com. Thank you. And then of course, we want to thank again Off Duty Aware for being our proud sponsor for this last hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Neil wanted to give this to you.
Aww.
Is that important now?
Yes. He sent this down?
Yes.
Oh, did he autograph it?
No. I didn't ask him to. Do you want
You
it?
lie. It's an autograph.
isn't.
Oh, this is sweet. This is really cool. Now we got to get Neil down here to sign
I
it.
asked him if he would. He actually sent one to me,
Yeah.
and then I asked him to give you one as well.
Aww. And this is the more recent one?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm definitely gonna
Are
pop
you
it
gonna?
in.
You're gonna listen?
Of course
to it?
I am.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah. You're not gonna listen to it. I'm gonna take it back. Okay. You don't listen? No.
That's right.
Kaboom. Kaboom.
It's
called teaser.
Yeah.
Here, horsey. Here's the carrot. Here's sugar cube. Carrot. Sugar cube. Carrot.
This is what
Get
I gotta
away.
deal with.
Oh man, let me tell you. I want to say a special shout out to my wife Angie. Angie, we're coming home, and she's been taken ill this last couple of days. So we know that we're praying for you that you get better.
Yes.
And the doctors are doing good jobs to make sure that you can have a speedy recovery. A little bit of setback. So she's doing well, and
Hope you feel better.
We'll see you in just a few. So my love to you, Angie. I love you with all my heart and soul. And anyway else, again, Kim, thanks for a wonderful day. It's been a long day, but it's great.
It has been a long
And
day.
I love the fact that we ended up strong with Neil tonight. This has been great.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Had an interesting stories.
Yep.
I enjoyed listening to
Right,
him.
right.
He's very busy right now.
Of
Oh
course.
my goodness.
Of course. Did want to let our viewers know that the next 2 weeks will have been pre-taped shows, so we won't be able to call in, but we have some wonderful guests coming up. And so tune in for those next two. And then that'll be the end of our season. And then Kim and I have some wonderful surprises that we're working on for all of our viewers. So stay tuned. But tune in next Sunday night. The next two Sundays will be on the air, just be pre-recorded.
Right.
So this is our last live presentation for the next couple of weeks.
And look us
then-
up on Facebook as
Right.
well.
And that'll be?
Because that will be, Facebook as well.
Right. But we also have a new website.
Yes, but that's coming, and that will be
LinkedIn.
announced on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Right.
Correct.
And that'll be,
So-
and then you'll be able to just look us up simply by going to talkink.com. Again, Talk Inc. I.N.K. Ian and Kim.
Right.
So thanks again, guys. It's been a wonderful day. Doug, we
Thank
want to say
you.
thank you. Matt, Wanda, kids, Jimmy, Gary, you the man.
Neil, all the fans
Neil-
that watched tonight,
Neil tonight,
appreciate
everybody.
watching our show.
Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Thank you.
We can't do it without you. And I want to thank my work wife, Kim. We just love each other. And thanks again, guys. So take us out, Gary. We love you. All right.
Take us out of here.
Oh my God! Can someone just get me out of here quick? I
Oh,
don't know
my
what this
God.
woman is all about. This is nuts.
I get to rock out
Yeah,
on
you
the
got-
way home.
you
I'm
got-
18 and I like it.
Boom,
All right, enough. That was it. Done. All right.
Or boom, 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 boom.
All right, I'm done, man. Nobody does it better than Alice Cooper, so
That was the riff.
yeah.
That was the riff from $1 Billion Baby.
Well, Neil does it better.
Oh no, that was it. I didn't miss one beat of that. I have it ingrained into my subconscious.
Neil does
Just
it
like
better.
Talk ink, blue, pink, purple, blue, pink, purple, pink.
This program was brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization, setting the standard for new media broadcasting.